welcome to our Reach Your Peak live Parkinson's exercise. Really grateful for you for joining me this morning, or indeed if you're watching this later on as a catch-up. So the session that I've got planned for us today is going to be what we call at Reach Your Peak an all-in-one workout. Now that is a workout that contains a little bit of all of the elements that we need for our Parkinson's exercise prescription. So there are quite a few components that are included in your weekly prescription. You need your 150 minutes of aerobic, moderate aiming towards vigorous intensity. You need stretch, you need strength, you need balance and complexity. And that might seem like an awful lot to try and get in to 1 week. But the good news is that you don't have to do all of those components separately. It is possible to sort of jumble them all in, either into one workout or a few different ones. But that's what we call our all-in-ones. It contains a little bit of all of those elements. And this particular workout that I've got planned for you today is one that our Exercises Medicine group are working on at the moment. So we're going to start off with a warm-up. We're then going to go into an interval circuit. So with an interval, what we do is we work hard for a certain period of time, and then we get what we call an active rest where you can just drop off. Because you need to be working at a rate that gets you a little bit breathless, but it's quite hard to sustain that effectively over a sort of 20, 30-minute period. So if we work with a sort of burst of intensity and then a little drop off, and keep repeating like that, it can allow us to keep our heart rates up, getting that intensity that you need from a workout without having to hold it for that sustained period of time. Once we've finished our circuit, which is going to be a combination of some leg and arm exercises, we're then going to move on to a cool down, which is a perfect time to work on your stretch component. I'll explain this as we're going along, but what is really important to note before we get started is that you need to make sure you're safe and comfortable to exercise with me. So that means area clear of any obstructions. You're not going to need any special equipment, but you are going to need space to move around in. If any of the movements cause any pain or discomfort, then make sure you stop or modify to something that suits you better. And if you feel unwell at all, then make sure you stop. If you're exercising alone, it's a good idea to have a method of communication nearby, such as a phone, should you need to reach out for any help. And also you're going to need to be quite comfortable moving fairly dynamically in a standing position. So if you have any particular concerns with your balance, then either maybe just watch first, make sure it's right for you and you can repeat it later, or this might be one that you want to sit out. But go with whatever suits you. It's your workout. You know what's best for you. We're going to start with our warm-up. But let me just move the camera a little bit before we get going to make sure that you can see okay. It's probably a very awkward angle for you to watch at, isn't it? Okay, right. Let's take me backing out the way a little bit. I'm also going to move this chair, I think, just so that I've got space. So again, you making sure that you've got clear space around you. So we start with our feet at about hip width apart, and I want you to shoulder roll up, around and back. So really thinking about creating space at the front of the chest. We're preparing our body for exercise, so we want to just wake it up a little bit. Nice wide full breaths. And one last one. And you can let the arms rest then. Coming up onto the ball of the foot, and then we're going to circle around at the ankles. So we've loosened off the chest and the shoulders. We're now just going to loosen out through the feet. A little bit of movement in the hip. Standing up tall. And then let's swap onto the other leg. Same thing, circling round. Good. Pull up tall on your supporting side. Great stuff. Well done. and then standing with a wide position, so feet wider than hip width apart. Firmly plant those feet into the floor as you move into a side bend, going over one way and come back up, and over the other way and pull back up. Keep going from side to side, lengthening along the side of the body. We'll do one more for each side. Good, well done. So we've elongated some of those muscles. Let's just see if we can bring your heart rate up a little bit, get you moving a bit more dynamically. You're going to take a step touch as I'm showing you here now. Stepping from side to side. Pull up as tall as you can. If you want to make this a little bit more vigorous, then you can take a deeper knee bend, side to side, down and up, down and up. 5 more, 4 more, 3, 2, and 1. Good, and then just keep gently moving during this warm-up period as I explain to you what's going to happen in our circuits coming up next. So like I said before, we're going to work with some intensity for 40 seconds, and then we just ease off for that 20 seconds of active rest. If you feel during your active rest that you can work a little bit harder, by all means, go with a little bit more intensity than I'm going to show you. The first 5 exercises are a step-based movement, so we're keeping that momentum going. If at any point you get stuck, you come back to a basic march. That's a lot of information. It will become more clear as we go along. I've got a timer set up for us here. And we're going to start our first 40-second work period with a march. So if you can drive your arms at the side of the body, and we're going in. 1, here we go. Big, strong march. Pick those knees up. Shoulders down. Nice wide, full breaths. Good, so you are halfway through that 40 seconds. Keep that same intensity as we continue moving through our work block. Don't worry if you're not keeping up pace with me, just work as hard as you're able to manage. We're almost there. 3, 2, and 1, and then we move into active rest. So in active rest, we're still moving, but you're perhaps bringing down that intensity a little bit. I'm going to move this timer so I can see it better and I don't have to keep looking off to the side. We're going to just bring the intensity down a little bit so that you're ready to go again with your next movement, which we're going to start now, hands on hips, and that's a box step. So we go wide, wide, narrow, narrow. Wide, wide, narrow, narrow. And then when you feel comfortable with the movement, you can always pick up that intensity a little bit more, make it more dynamic. So this is a tricky movement. We're bringing in an element of complexity because, of course, when we exercise for Parkinson's, we're really focusing on exercising the brain, not so much the body. So by bringing in a little bit of a coordination challenge, a little bit more complexity, we're getting the brain working. So don't worry if you get your feet muddled up. Just reset and go again. We're into our active rest. So that's that 40-second burst. Now we're into the 20 seconds of relative rest. But if you need to pick up the pace a little bit, if you feel like you're not working hard enough, you can use your active rest with more intensity. But we're next moving on to our 40-second block of heel digs. So follow me. You're digging the heel in towards the floor, punching the hands down towards the feet. So make it a really strong, powerful, dynamic movement. Working as hard as you can. And then we've got 5 more seconds to go. Good stuff. Into your active rest. So either working with a sort of slower movement to catch your breath, or if you find that you're not actually breathless, which is where you should be for your Parkinson's aerobic work, you can take it up a notch. Next movement coming up, we're going to do a side tap. So go hands on hips for me, tap to the side and in, tap to the side and in. And we keep swapping from side to side, working at a pace that you're comfortable to manage. Now, if you're used to quite vigorous exercise, you can make this into a little bit more of a jumping movement. It's going to make you work a little bit harder from an aerobic perspective. If your knees don't like that, then you've still got this option of the side tap. So there's loads of ways that you can adapt a workout to make it suit you. Good. Active rest again, 20 seconds. The next exercise that we're going to ask you to do, you keep moving through your active rest, I'll just show you before we get going, is a high knee. Now this is a great example. Nearly got a little bit more rest before we get started. 3, 2, 1, let's go, high knee. This is a great example of how we can incorporate some balance into our circuit. Because of course, every time we've got a hold on this single leg, then it's a really good balance challenge as well. If you do feel your balance is a little bit compromised, you can always hold onto a wall or a windowsill. But as we're driving this knee up, we're working the muscles around the hip, strong in center, and hopefully getting a little bit breathless to get your intensity. 3, 2, 1, and then we go back to our active rest. Good. We're going to repeat those 5 movements shortly, but before that, I'm going to show you some no weight arm strengthening exercises. So we've got 3 more seconds of our active rest. We'll keep it moving, and then we'll come to a stance position. Elbows in by your side, open the arms out, come back in. So you're squeezing the elbows into the side of the body and pushing your arms open. Palms are up to the ceiling, and the tighter you squeeze in towards your body, the stronger you're going to work the muscles around the tops of the shoulders. So this is a good strengthening exercise that doesn't really need any additional equipment at all. Stay up tall. We're nearly done in this 40-second work period. Great, we are done. Let the arms relax. So because that was a less intense exercise from an aerobic perspective, what we can always do in our active rest is bring the intensity up a little bit. Just another way to play around with the workout to get what you need. Let's go on for another arm exercise now. Arms up and out to the side. Hold them out straight and draw circles. So the circle should be about the size of a football, soccer ball, depending on if you're watching outside of UK and Europe. So keeping that strong, powerful movement, shoulders down, working the muscles at the tops of the arms. We're working in a 40-second block. We've got 10 seconds left. 3, 2, and 1, and then we go into our active rest. So if you feel like you're not working aerobically as intensely as you could, that sounded much more complicated than it needed to be, you can always use this active rest to bring it up a little bit. As long as you're moving, I'm happy. Okay, final exercise in our arm segment. Nice wide stance, arms up and out, we pull down, we go up. We pull down, we go up. So if I come sideways, trying to keep my arms in line with my body. Staying up tall and strong. Bottom tucked underneath, tummy muscles tight. Squeeze the elbows in by your sides. Push the wrists and the elbows back. 3 more seconds. Last one. Good, lovely. And then we're into our active rest. So we're going to repeat that circuit all over again, going right back from that march at the beginning. I'm going to talk a little bit less during this circuit to give you a chance just to focus on the movements. We go 40 seconds of march. Drive the arms. Powerful, strong feet into the floor. Push those elbows back. Work at a pace that you're comfortable to manage. Keep working hard. Almost there. Good. And then you move through your active rest, bringing the intensity down if you want to, giving it a little boost if needs be. Nearly there for active rest. Then we're going on to box step. Wide, wide, narrow, narrow. Alternating the lead leg each time if you can. Bringing in a little bit of coordination to this one. Slow it down. If you're finding the pattern of movement is challenging, once you're comfortable with it, then you can bring it up. So you don't have to work in time with me. Work at a pace that suits you. Opening those hips out with the wide step. Precise and controlled will become narrow. That's your 40 seconds done. We're going to move through your active rest. Good, you're halfway through your active rest. Coming up next is going to be a heel dig. So let's stay up tall. Let's keep those tummy muscles strong. And we're going into our 40 seconds of heel dig. Bringing in some twist through the torso. Getting some mobility in there. Push the fists down towards the floor. Dig in the heel, in towards the ground. Twist and push. Twist and push. Working at a pace that you're comfortable to manage. Good, and then active rest. So moving whichever way you want to for your active rest to get the intensity you need. Ideally, we want you to be a little bit breathless with your aerobic exercise. Okay, onto a side tap next. So from this strong position, we go out and in, out and in. Aim to get an equal size tap in either direction. Symmetry. If you've got one side that moves better than the other, just really focusing hard. Sometimes reaching to a point can be useful to help get you that range of movement, working in front of a mirror or a window, something with the reflection so you can see yourself, or just copy me on the screen. Active rest now. I said I was going to talk less. I don't think I have. It's not something that comes natural to me. Keep moving. At the end of this rest period, which is in 3 seconds, we've got our high knee. And here we go, high knee, high knee. So a little bit slower perhaps with the movement, but bringing in some balance. Stay up tall. Just lifting the knee as high as you're comfortable to manage, but we have that pause and control before moving on to the other side. Keep it moving. You've got 10 seconds left, so let's keep the pace. Good. Active rest next. So because maybe you slowed it down a little bit there, you might want to pick it up in this active rest to make sure that we're getting the intensity that you need. I keep finding your own squeaky floorboard. So keep moving, and then we're on to our arm exercises next. Elbows in by your side. Open and in. Open and in. Squeezing the elbows in towards the waist. Bottom tucked underneath, shoulders down. The more tightly you squeeze your elbows in, the more you're going to work the muscles around the shoulders. Tighten the tummy, lift up through the crown of the head. Good. And then we've got our active rest, so you can let the arms rest. And we're going to move through our active rest to keep the blood pumping, to keep the heart beating, to keep your lungs asking for more air. Okay, next one for the arms is arm circles. So wide stance, feet firmly planted to the floor, drawing circles in the air. Soccer ball size, football size. Equal movement on the two sides. So this is really helpful if you can see yourself and you can check that we've got symmetry and that you can position your arms up at shoulder height, straight elbows, reaching through to the tips of the fingers. Good, we're nearly there. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then you move through your active rest. You don't have to jog. You might want to stick with a march. You can go to a step touch. As long as you keep moving, then I'm happy. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. We've got one more exercise to do, which is those angel arms. So let's come to a nice wide stance. Arms out. We squeeze elbows to the waist and push up. So you're imagining that you're trying to draw some angel wings. Coming down and push up. Shoulders down, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Make sure your feet are firmly planted into the floor in a nice, strong, wide stance. Big movements. Nearly done. Excellent, let the arms rest. And then we're going to keep moving through what will be our final 20 seconds of active rest. Keep it moving in whichever way you feel is best for you. 3, 2, 1. Fantastic, well done. My time has finished. A little confetti cannon has just burst. So I'm going to pass on that little congratulatory confetti cannon to you too. Well done. So we're going to move on to a not warm up, we've done the warm up. We're going to move on to a cool down next. So a cool down is a really important thing to do after you've exercised because it just helps to stop blood from pooling in muscles. It stops you feeling as achy as you might do after exercise. But it's also a really great chance to get some stretch, some elongation in the muscles once they've been warmed up from something more vigorous that you've already been doing. So we're going to start with a hamstring stretch. I'm actually going to hold onto the wall for a little bit of balance. If you've got a chair or a worktop nearby, you can use that. You're going to go for a big step backwards, tucking the bottom underneath, and we're pushing the heel towards the floor. I think I said hamstring stretch, didn't I? It's not, it's a calf stretch. Apologies. But we're stretching up the back of this leg, this lower part of the leg here. Okay, we're going to swap to the other side. So we bring the leg in and then step back on the other one. It's this back leg that you're stretching into your calf muscle with a straight knee. Press the heel to the floor, leaning into that stretch. So we're going to hold our static stretches for at least 15 seconds. I find it easier just to think about some nice wide full breaths. So 2 or 3 deep breaths as we stretch and then come back in. Now we're going to do the hamstring, which is a straight leg, sinking the hips back, and it's this straight leg that we're elongating all the way from the back of the knee up anywhere towards your bottom there. Holding that stretch, 2 nice big deep breaths. And then we ease off there. And doing the same on the other side. Straight leg, sink the hips back, pull the toes up towards you. Feel the pull all the way up the back of the thigh. Wide full breaths. Good. And then we ease out of there. Bringing your arms round behind your back now. And taking the hands away from the body, raising the eye line. So stretching across the front of the chest. Nice wide breath here for me. Good. Now you're going to bring the arms forward, lace your fingers together, and press the palms forward. At the same time, you're going to drop your chin to your chest, round your shoulders, and push the hands away from you, opening across the middle back. Good. And then we can release the hands there. Let them relax down by your side, and then into a neck stretch. Think about shoulders down. Imagine you had a fairly heavy shopping bag in either hand, just pulling the shoulders down. We're going to maintain that feeling as you take your ear over to your shoulder one side, feeling the length up the side of the neck. Come up to the middle, and then over to the other side. Lengthen and elongate the side of the neck. Good. And back up into the middle. And you can soften your posture. If you want to take a seat, then please do. But we have completed our all-in-one workout. So we started with a warm-up to prepare the body for exercise. We then went through a circuit of 8 different exercises, which we repeated twice with a 40-second intensity burst and a 20-second active rest. That gave us 16 minutes of high-intensity interval training. So ideally, we want you to be looking at about 30 minutes of such exercise around about 5 times a week. But something is better than nothing. And if you're new to exercise, then work up towards that amount. If you're curious to find out a little bit more about your Parkinson's exercise prescription, then do have a look through some of the videos on our channel, and you'll find some education videos about the why, the what, and the how of Parkinson's specific exercise. If you've got any questions, please get in touch with us and ask. I'm going to be back next Monday at 10:45 for another live session. If there's anything that you're curious about in terms of different types of exercise that you'd like to explore, please give us a shout, and we'll try and incorporate that into our taster sessions that we do every Monday. Thank you for joining me. We really appreciate your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your comments, because that helps more people to see what we're doing and to find out about the value of exercise to treat Parkinson's. I hope to see you again very soon for another workout. Bye-bye.